So what if I told you that one reverb plugin using only presets took the drums from sounding like this to this? Let me introduce you to DBVerb. This is a new collaboration between famous producer mixer David Bendeth and Make Believe Studios / Matrix Halo. And what DBVerb does is it replicates 12 of David's favorite reverb patches. It's intended to duplicate his signature workflow by putting 4 different reverbs in parallel. And as you can see here, that's what they've done. And they've created it just like the way David works, which was on an SSL console. And you can see it looks just like the faders of an SSL console. So you have small, medium, large, and extra. So there's 4 different reverb faders. And then, as I said, there's 12 patches. So each patch is on this settings button. So you just click here and it switches to the different setting for each individual reverb. Below that is length, and that is your decay. It starts off at 9. 9 is the way the reverb patch was created, but you can lower the decay by bringing down the slider here. Or if you right click it, you can actually type it in too, which makes it a lot quicker. Above each reverb, which I think is really cool, you have a solo or a cut, just like an SSL. So when you're auditioning this thing, and we'll get into a few more listening examples in a minute, you can actually just make sure you're like, this reverb's doing what that is, or cut these two and listen to these two. Really cool intuitive way of having multiple reverbs at one time and be able to listen to them. Over on the right is the pre-delay. If you'll notice, this is at 0. If I bring it, but you can bring it down to -30, which is kind of odd for a pre-delay, right? Well, 0 is the pre-delay, the way David's reverbs were set. But you can bring it down here, and that will actually be true 0 of the pre-delay. Or you can bring it back to 0, which is like David's settings, or bring it up and obviously have a much longer pre-delay if you want. So cool, different kind of way to have the way it was intended, but also make it your own. Below that is the EQ section. It has a high frequency knob, turn it up and turn it down, but 3 different frequency types. So you can play with that, and we'll take a listen to that as well. Below that, high pass filter, really great for cleaning up mud on a reverb. And then obviously your wet and dry knob. So let's solo up the snare. We'll hit play and listen to some of the different reverbs. That one's really cool. You got that splat on there. I like that a lot. So tons of different sounds you can get out of this thing. Let's check out extra. Hear how that reverb just changes that snare sound? That's pretty cool. So once again, by changing that high frequency, it really does change the sound of the snare, which I like, or the snare reverb, but also the snare. And you could tell definitely some frequency changes happening when we move these frequency knob here. All right, so let's move on to a vocal just to hear something else. I'm hearing my buddy Daniel Escobar's setting Pro Vocal Verb. And this is on a song I mixed for Garrett Gregory. Mind you, this vocal is supposed to sound the way it sounds. So it's a little bit like kind of gritty, distorted. But yeah, let's hit play and see what this sounds like.
I have a $1.22 out to his party, to a small town crush, out to his mom and dad that love you so much. But remember this, 'cause I always will. Every I told you so, went straight for the kill. So go on and say it, it's not what you're thinking. You can just keep my heart, I ain't gonna take it. So go on and break it.
So that is the DBVerb. It is a pretty simple plugin when you first look at it. But as you can tell in the video, we could have gone on forever with all the different flavors you can get with the 12 different algorithms. And then you can turn one up and turn one down. You can get so many different reverb sounds. Also, adding the high frequency EQ gives you even more different flavors. So I think this is a pretty inventive plugin. It reminds me a little bit of CLA's Epic, which I love too. I like these newer plugins that give you something different you can use. This gives me 4 different reverbs. I can get tons of different flavors from it. I think it might become my new go-to verb for drums. But yeah, I definitely dig it. Let me know what you guys think about the new plugin in the comments below. If you need your songs mixed and mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. Talk to you soon.